Welcome to 91.9 Public Affairs and Govs TV. I'm Micah Terrell. There's a new safety feature on campus you need to hear about. It's a new app called Live Safe. And APSU Police Chief Chief Kasitz is here to tell us all about it. So Chief, thanks for joining us. Please tell us about Live Safe. Why this app in particular?
Thanks for having me. For the past couple of years, we've been trying to get some type of app that would connect us better with our students, faculty, and staff. So earlier this year, we put out a bid to see what was out there. And after the whole process, Live Safe came out on top. It's an app that has features where people can report a tip, whether using their profile information or anonymously, and that's very important because a lot of people don't want their name attached to certain things. It can connect to us in an emergency, which will allow them to share their location with us should they choose to do so. There's another feature called Safe Walk, which doesn't even involve our department. And with a Safe Walk, the user can ask up to 3 friends to walk with them virtually while they go across campus or even across the city. All they have to do is put in their destination and send a text message to it will automatically send a text message to 3 friends, up to 3 friends for the people, and they can watch them walk. And on their screen, they can see a little green trail of breadcrumbs where the person is and where they're heading to.
Really? It's really pretty cool. So how many people have downloaded this app so far?
As of this morning, we had almost 500 downloads since we launched it on Wednesday. We've been doing a big push to try to get people to download.
Right, and there's a little contest that you have going too to kind of encourage people. Tell us more about that.
Yes, we're giving away 2 iPad minis, we're giving away 2 iPad minis for people who download the app and send us a tip. Inside the report a tip area is a tip type called iPad giveaway, and all the user has to do is take a picture with an Austin Peay police officer in uniform, an Austin Peay police car, or a blue light call box on our campus and send us the tip with their profile information, and they'll be registered to win that iPad, and that will go through February 22nd.
Great. Now this isn't going to be replacing the safety boxes or anything. This is just kind of like an extra layer of security, right?
That's correct. It's an enhancement to what we already have in place. We have the blue light call boxes. We have the emergency notification systems. This app just enhances that and gives our students, faculty, and staff a new way to communicate with us. Especially through text messaging, because we've found out over the years that a lot of the younger generation, they don't like to call us. They would much prefer to text.
Right, and this is a good way to do it. Now this is also helpful too because there's a campus map, so maybe like new incoming freshmen or maybe even visitors could use it, right?
That's correct. There is a map on there, and if you can find a list of our buildings on there. And so if you know what building you're going to, you can click that, and then there's an arrow when you click on that building name. And you can push the arrow and it goes into Google Maps and will give you walking directions to that building. Another nice feature is it's got a built-in emergency guide. So if you go into the emergency procedures or emergency resources, you can find out what to do if the fire alarm goes off or if there's a tornado warning. All that's built into the app, and it doesn't require the internet to find that information.
That's very cool because, yeah, we always, of course, in Tennessee we have crazy weather, so you never know what you're going to have, so it's good to know. Now, if somebody has any issues downloading the app, I didn't know if you had any issues with people, saying, oh, it wasn't working or anything like that so far. And if they do, who do they get in contact with?
We have not had any reports, but if they do have any issues, they can contact our office, and we'll be more than happy to send somebody to assist them.
Great. Now this new app is not the result of any spike in crime, right? It's just something that you guys are like, hey, this is a good way to help, get everybody more involved in safety, right?
That's correct. Our crime statistics pretty much stay constant year to year. We'll have a little fluctuation up and down in certain categories. But we wanted to have a new way for people to contact us. We wanted to have a new way to contact our students and our faculty and staff. So this is just like when we started putting in blue light call boxes in the mid-90s. It's just a way to enhance campus safety.
Now, dovetailing into this, how would this app work with, say, like the safety drills? Because we had the recent one just a few weeks ago where people got an alert on their phone, and then also if they were on their computer, they got a computer alert too. How would this dovetail with that?
Well, we do have this app, LiveSafe, has, sorry. The LiveSafe app does have a feature that allows us to send broadcast messages. So not only can we send a text message to the phone, we can also send an email depending on whether the user has put in a phone number or an email, but we can also send a push notification to the phones. So it enhances our emergency notification system, but it also gives a way that people can silently tell us that they need assistance through the emergency messaging and where they're located. They can also send us videos, they can send us still pictures. So this gives us more ways that we can gather information as events are unfolding.
Right. Now, how did that drill go? I mean, if you could give everybody a report card, because I know my classes, did well. I mean, we were all quiet for the period of time, but how did overall the university
Well,
do?
we had some active participation. We had some that didn't participate. But the purpose of this drill was not for participation. It was to start a conversation and to get people to start thinking, well, if I was really in a situation, what would I do? And that doesn't just apply to the campus. This applies to home. This applies to retail stores. Because when you go into a retail store, do you know where the emergency exits are? Do you know what you're going to do if the front doors are blocked at a restaurant? Do you know how to get out? So it's starting that conversation that's the most important thing.
And that's really important too, because I don't think a lot of my students, in particular in my case, even had that talk with their teachers or anybody just to think, hey, how would we get out? Would we stay and be quiet? Now, what would be, if we did have an active shooter situation, what would be just some good things for people to keep in mind beyond, of course, what we learned in the drill?
Well, the most important thing is to understand that you are the most important person in any emergency situation. So you have to take care of yourself first. Only you know what's happening and know how your feelings are during this. So you have to make the decision that's best for your own safety. I can't tell you what to do. But things to remember are run, hide, fight. There's a YouTube video that was done by the city of Houston on that. It's kind of like, you remember stop, drop, and roll when you catch on fire. They blasted that when I was a child, and I haven't forgotten it yet. So run, hide, fight. Run if you can, hide if you can't run, and fight if absolutely necessary. But if you go on YouTube and search for that, it's less than 10 minutes, and it gives you good information.
And that's all good to remember, too. Now, back to the drill again. We were all in class. Now, how, I guess, would we keep run, hide, and fight in mind if we were changing classes? Because obviously that might complicate things a little bit more if people were trying to get to a place they would have to be maybe far from a building or something.
That's correct. You need to keep that in mind, and you have to realize that even though you may be hidden, it might turn into a situation where it's safer to run it at a certain point. So just be ready to change your actions as the situation unfolds.
Now, these drills, should we keep doing more? Will we see more of these in the future here on campus? Or, or how are we going to be attacking that problem?
My job is to ensure preparedness. So I have been tasked with doing certain drills. Last spring we did fire drills in the academic and administrative buildings, something that we had never done before. The residence halls do 2 fire drills a semester, but we had never done it in academic and administrative buildings. So what you can plan on is at least 1 drill per semester. Now, since we did the secure in place drill this spring, in the fall you can look for probably another fire drill or something similar.
Great. Now, what can students do? Obviously, we talked about the run, hide, fight, but what are just other things that they can do? Just be prepared for just any kind of incident in general. Maybe protecting themselves, walking to their cars, that sort of thing.
Well, the most important thing is to be aware of your surroundings. I see a lot of students that walk across campus with their faces down, text messaging or looking at something on their phone. A lot of them wear headphones and they can't hear what's going on around them. So having that situational awareness of what's going on around you can help prevent a whole lot of things.
And have you noticed too, because I noticed a lot of people leaving stuff in their cars, maybe to prevent, property thefts and that sort of thing. What do you recommend people do besides obviously hiding their items?
Yeah, never keep valuables in sight and always lock your doors. Don't leave your windows down that grant access. It's very quick, and I experienced this issue at a previous job a few years ago where we had a rash of smash and grabs from cars where people would leave their backpack or their computer bag or their purse sitting on the front seat, and it only takes a second for somebody to break out a window and grab it and run. So taking away the opportunity for somebody to take your stuff is always a big deal. When you go to the bookstore and you have to leave your backpack, secure it in one of the lockers that are free sitting there. Don't leave it laying in the lobby area because those tend to disappear pretty quick.
Definitely. Now, spring break is coming up soon, too. What are some things that we can kind of help students keep in mind if they're staying on campus during the break?
Well, if they're staying on campus, it's pretty much the same thing. We have a good campus here, but always lock your stuff. Make sure that when you leave your residence hall room, you secure your stuff. If you're in the library, make sure you don't leave your computer or books laying on the table while you go into the stacks or run to the restroom. The most important thing is to always keep an eye on your stuff. Right. For those going off campus, the most important thing is to maintain control of yourself. There are certain things that can, I guess, diminish your capacity to think clearly. And so don't lose control. If you're with other people and they're starting to lose control, help your friend out.
And that's where I think it's good to have a buddy system, right? You know, don't always go to like maybe a party or a gathering, whatever, by yourself, right?
That's correct.
Now, what about the license to carry weapons on campus? Obviously, we have some staff who are licensed according to state law. Now, how many, do we have a rough idea this semester, how many are licensed to carry on campus?
We have a total of 31 registrants right now.
Right. Now, what should they keep in mind, going back to the drills, what should they kind of keep in mind when drills happen or if there were an active shooter situation?
Well, the spirit of that law is to allow the faculty or staff member to protect themselves in the event of an emergency. So they are not to do the job of the police and go and search out the issue. They are to run, hide, fight if absolutely necessary.
Right, so don't be a hero and try to take over.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Now, what about students? According to the procedures, they're not allowed to carry anything, correct?
That's correct. According to the current law, students are not allowed to have weapons on campus.
Right. Now, to shift gears a little bit, I wanted to ask you about, we've had the food for traffic fines drive back in the fall. Will that be continuing in the spring, or is it the next fall we need to look for
We have
that?
only done it during the fall semester, and we've done it the last 3 fall semesters. So, you know, we allow students, faculty, and staff, and even visitors to pay for outstanding parking fines with 10 food items. We will waive up to 2 tickets per person, unless they were parked in an ADA accessible spot, and then we won't waive that citation. We have not had discussions yet to determine if we're going to do it during the fall semester, but I do know that it does a lot of good for not only making parking look good, but also helping the Save Our Students food pantry and helping our community.
And speaking of parking, we've had a lot of added parking now with the spots in the old Jenkins and Wynn parking lot. What are some good parking tips that you can give to both students and staff that can help them with
Well, I don't think people realize how close the parking actually is. If you take out the married housing at Emerald Hills, all parking on our campus is within 4/10 of a mile of the University Center. So even though it seems like a long distance, it's really not. And it's a quick walk across campus. And if you do go over to the new parking lots at the old Jenkins and Wynn property, even though there may be a building in the way, it's actually quite close to campus. Now, you do have to cross College Street, and we do recommend that you cross at controlled intersections. But it's actually eased a lot. I've noticed a lot of people started going over towards the Jenkins and Wynn lot, which it's very smart because you waste a whole lot of time circling full parking lots, and then you get frustrated, and then you end up making yourself late. Or if you just go to one of the lots a little bit further out and walk in, you save yourself a whole bunch of time and frustration.
And it's amazing to me still, as much as we say that people still do the hovering, like the little vultures circling around and stuff. Now, some things you can do before you even leave the house would be like check the APSU Police Twitter and Facebook, right, to see if there's any parking
do.
notifications.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We haven't done as much Twitter this semester because we haven't needed to. I mean, it's quite common which parking lots fill up, and it's always the ones that people want to be in, and they're labeled Lot 9, Lot 7, and Lots 11 and 10, which are over across College Street. Those are the first ones to fill up. They fill up by 8 o'clock. So if you're not here by 8 o'clock, go on to the foy, go on to one of the new lots. We introduced the overflow lots to help people park easier. So if your color designation is full, you can go to one of the overflow lots, which is zoned black, and all you have to do is have a valid Austin P permit to park there.
Now, what about safety and pedestrian zones? Because I know I've noticed, especially the zone I drive through by the math building, and there's that work area with the new art building. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic around. What can we remind people about, both pedestrians and drivers, too?
Just take it slow. Most of the speed limits on campus are 20 miles an hour, but it may not be feasible to go 20 miles an hour. And as I'm driving through campus, one of the things I look for are the flashing lights at crosswalks, but those aren't always active for one reason or another. But I'm always prepared for somebody to step out, and especially if it's that student, faculty, or staff member that has their face buried in the phone and they're not really paying attention. It's up to the driver to pay attention for them. You might have right of way as a driver, but that's not going to make you feel any better should you hit someone.
Right, that's what I was saying. Let's please not hit anybody.
Yes.
Right. Right. Well, Chief, I had no more questions. Please make sure, there are any other tips we need to pass along to the students and staff that would help them be safe this semester and beyond.
Just if you have any questions, call us. If, we're starting this rollout of see something, say something, and our Live Safe app allows us to do that. So if you see something, say something to us so we can do something about it.
Great. Thank you, Chief Kasitz. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Great. And I'm Micah Terrell for Govs TV and 91.9 Public Affairs.